Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore, and we will probably get our best ending of Fritz's route today, so we're just picking up where we left off. The music seems a little, too cheery. I don't know. Anyway, the minute the king is notified of the incident, the masquerade is cancelled and the throne room is cleared out. And that's what I witnessed. I finished describing the situation to the king as concisely as I can. When I'm done describing everything I've witnessed, I stand steadily and wait for the king's verdict. The two kidnappers are prostrated on the ground behind me, surrounded by a tight circle of knights. Fritz and Jurian are there as well. I can feel Fritz's gaze on my back and have to resist the urge to look back at him.
So this was another hate crime against witches.
Your Majesty, if I may interrupt.
Speak, Jurian.
We've discovered that this is not the criminal's first offense. They're also behind some of the recent witch hate crimes happening in town. Jurian shoots the two knights a severe glare. I hold myself responsible for not having found out about their crimes earlier. You have my deepest apologies, Your Majesty.
Your apologies are unwarranted, Jurian. I'm just as surprised as you to see this hatred even within our ranks.
He turns again to the knights, expression stoic.
I personally invited Lady Celeste to this ball. She's a busy woman, a countess from Brigantia who deserves our utmost respect.
A countess? Father invited a countess from Brigantia here without me knowing?
I invited her here to act as a spokesperson for witches, and she gracefully agreed.
He frowns.
I do not know what you intended to do with her, but know this. You'll be tried for all your crimes. I will not abide prejudice in this kingdom.
With that, the two men are taken from the room. And, here's the thing. Okay, yes, your daughter was a witch. Okay, so you got, I don't want to, I'm not going to let you be prejudiced against people that are like my daughter. But also, he has a reason to hate witches. Because a witch basically, he wasn't, if I remember correctly, it wasn't like, oh, he fell in love with Hilda, right? And then she turned out to be evil. It was, she kind of trapped him. It was the, spell on him to get the, so, he has every reason to be like, witches suck! Look what I went through! But he's like, no, just because she was a psychopath doesn't mean all witches are bad. So, the fact that he's out there no, we're not going to be prejudiced and hate on witches just because, there were some douchey witches. There's douchey humans. We don't hate every human. You probably should. Humans suck. But, Anyway. With that, the two men are taken from the room. Their sentence is all but set, but they'll nonetheless get a trial for the sake of fairness. Jurian herself leads them out. After she's left, it's just Fritz and I left in the room. I break the silence first. The witch is a Brigantian countess? Why did you not tell me she was coming?
I intended to have Claude introduce you tonight. The only other ones who knew of her arrival were the knights. It was for security purposes.
He sighs.
I see now that it was a mistake to keep the information confidential. Regardless.
My father turns to me, expression somber.
You put yourself in danger rescuing her, Spacey.
I couldn't sit back while she was in danger.
We have knights so that we may rely on them.
Be that as it may, there was no one there to rely on in the moment. We have knights that we can rely on. Yeah, but they were also the ones committing the crimes, so the fuck did you want me to do here? It's not really an easy answer. Spacey.
In the end, what you did was very heroic. You've won the Countess's favor, and in doing so have redeemed Angela in her eyes. You were brave, Spacey. Very brave as a ruler must be.
Fritz is like, I'm disappointed in you, but Dad's proud! It's all we wanted. My heart eases somewhat at the words.
I'd like to speak to the Countess now, but I would hear your testimony tomorrow, Fritz.
Of course, Your Majesty.
Then you're excused. Thank you both for your assistance tonight.
With a bow and a curtsy, Fritz and I duck out of the throne room. I bowed, he curtsied. That's just how I'm playing on my head. My head is still reeling by the time I return to my bedroom. To think the woman I helped save tonight was a countess from Brigantia. I collapse onto my bed with a groan. Fritz leans against the wall nearby, arms crossed. What a long night. Fritz shuffles silently in place. He's fidgety enough I know there's something on his mind. Just say it. You're disappointed I put myself in danger, aren't you? Disappointed? Spacey, I could never be disappointed. Terrified for you, yes. But disappointed? How can I be disappointed when you saved an innocent woman? The whole time you've been training to protect yourself, but you ended up using the skills I taught you to save someone else. He crouches down so that we're eye to eye. Much to my relief, a soft smile graces his face. Oh my god, my back hurts so fucking bad right now, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get comfortable, it's like, oh my god. You knew when to attack, when to defend, and when to run. I sigh. Some of it was luck. Who knows what would have happened had Lady Celeste not had that extra mist potion? Right, and that's the part that terrifies me. But while I want to protect you from everything, I'd be doing you a disservice by not believing in you. Good boy. I've said this before. I was talking to Fritz, not my bird or anything. I just wanted to make sure, because I've said this before, Spacey, but you're the strongest woman I know. And this proves it more than anything else. You're a lot calmer about this than I thought you'd be. Fritz shakes his head. His eyes are filled with mirth. Like I said, it's impossible to be disappointed in you, and you use the knife. Instinctively, my hand goes to my pocket, but the knife isn't there. Oh no, I threw it at the night, but then forgot to retrieve it. Hey. Fritz holds out his arm, and with the flick of his wrist, the knife flashes out from his sleeve. He hands it to me with a flourish. I saw it in the corridor and thought you might have dropped it. I didn't realize you were hiding it in your dress. You gave it to me as a gift, and it's a good means of protection. It'd be foolish of me not to carry it. I looked down at the knife, thoughtful. I mean, right? Especially after he told us the story of his mom dying because she didn't have a knife on her that time. If my mom had this knife on her, she wouldn't have died. So, like, the one time I don't have the knife on me is the time I would have gotten stabbed. Like this. You know what I'm just saying? Come on. Fritz, come on. What you doing, nasty little bird? You're over here too. You pooped on my couch. That's not nice. We don't poop on the couch. Hi. Hi, you're cute. Yeah, you're my good birdie. I love you. Your nasty little bird friend is like on my couch. So what's he doing? What are you doing on my couch? He's like, don't touch me, lady. He actually backed away from me instead of like running at me to attack me viciously. Progress! Not really. Yes. Try to get him to his cage. He's oh my god, he's the worst. Bird is the worst. I just want you to be happy, but like also not be a complete nasty dick. That's all I'm saying. Like, he comes to the couch now because Neelix is always on the couch. So it's cute, but like he hates me. He hates me to the point where it's like, I have to go for a walk. So like sometimes you just go over near him and he goes, ah, and he flies to his cage and then you can kind of shoo him into his cage. And other times you have to like, your hand is in the sleeve of your sweater. You have to kind of try to get him, but then he's attacking you. Literally claws in as far as he can, biting, wings flapping. And then you're like, and then I gotta try to shove you in your cage, but you won't get off of me and I gotta try to shake you. I'm gonna sit here for 20 minutes because he's like in attack mode. And it's like, could you just, like, I don't know, not just get to the point where I'm like, fine, I'm gonna go for a walk and then you're gonna be left out. And if you get hurt, it's not my fucking problem, which is awful. But it's like, he's gonna get hurt biting me, like, because he won't let go. Yeah, you're looking at me. That's, okay. That was literally just a string on a couch and he almost like fell off the couch because it scared him. Anyway, I looked down at the knife, thoughtful. After a few moments, Fritz wraps his hand around mine. What you did today was amazing, Spacey, but please, promise me you'll always prioritize your own safety. Angel can't lose its future queen. The spark dies in his eyes as he speaks, and his shoulders sag. And I can't lose you. You mean the world to me, Spacey. You're the one that keeps me rooted, that keeps me sane. You're my dream for the future. His eyes are on the dagger as he speaks. I wonder vaguely if he's thinking about his mother and what happened to Alcester after her death. I need to comfort him somehow, but how? Talk about the future. I lower myself to the floor, and before he can protest, lean close enough to press myself to his shoulder. I reach up to trail my fingers down his arm. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, Fritz. You're just as much my dreams as I am yours. I want you to be my future. Fritz's cheeks flush a soft crimson. It takes me a few moments to realize why. I quickly pull away, my own cheeks warm. But Fritz grabs my hand before I can stand back up. He draws my finger to his lips and kisses them one by one, lips lingering on each one. Fritz! He looks up at me, his gaze filled with warmth. Always. He did not just pull a Harry Potter on me. Bravo, game. You can't just see it with you can't hear the word always without thinking Snape. Alan Rickman. Look, I love Alan Rickman, okay. I saw the movies before I read the books, and like Snape was my favorite just because I love Alan Rickman so much that you can't put him in a movie and make him an antagonist without me being like, but I love him! It's fine! So like, I knew the whole time, okay? But only because that was just, in my head canon, he's just misunderstood for some reason because he's not a bad boy. He's a good boy. Just because I love Alan Rickman. So, like, if you cast anybody else, I might have been like, what an asshole, and been bamboozled the whole time. But cast Alan Rickman, and I was like, no. I was on his side the whole time. Again, not because I'm intelligent or anything, just Alan Rickman. I promise to be with you always. He leans forward to cut my face in his hands. Our lips are inches apart when a knock sounds at the door, startling us both. Your Highness, and the Queen requests your presence in her chambers. Ophelia? She must want to check on me. Tell her I'll be there in a few moments. I turn back to Fritz and plant a quick kiss on his lips before standing up. He looks up at me, almost disappointed. Yeah, he thought he was going to get some. I consider him for a few moments before shaking my head with a little smile. Would you like to come with me? To the Queen's rooms. Is there a problem? No, I've just never visited her chambers before. Then we must remedy that. You're basically a part of the family now, after all. Before he can protest, I grab his hand and pull him out of the room. Last night's proceedings feel like a dream in the morning. The king reviews the situation with the counselors, and after hearing testimony from Fritz, Jurian, and I, he sentences the knights to a lifetime in prison. The countess has been offered a room at our palace for a few days. Last I heard, she's resting in her room and recuperating from the trauma of last night. Even the masquerade feels like a dream. In the morning, everyone's exhausted, with the exception of two people. Emmeline and Lance? Oh, Claude and... Okay, never mind. You absolutely must fight me. I'll not leave Angele until we spar. Sorry, Your Highness, but I have a very tight schedule. His eyes flicker to me, and I can see the mischief in them. I know Fritz doesn't have as much on his plate that he can't spar with Claude. No, he just wants to avoid Claude's melodrama. Yeah, but Claude's melodrama I live for. I don't know why. Like, Claude is exhausting, but in a different way that Fritz is exhausting. Like, Claude is exhausting, like, you have too much energy, and I just want to take a nap now. And Fritz is like, I just need to curl up in a ball and cry for a while because you emotionally exhaust me. But this is a gentleman's challenge. One does not turn down a gentleman's challenge. On the contrary, one has the responsibility to turn down a gentleman's challenge if it comes from a man that's not a gentleman. You stay out of this, llama. Claude and Lance are our esteemed guest. Our is so fucking hard. For the following week. Though I have no doubt Claude's dramatics will tire me out by the end of the week, I can't help but be glad to see him again. His exuberance is contagious. Emmeline especially is excited the two princes are staying longer. She's been stealing glances across the table at Lance all morning. Even now she twirls her hair around her finger as she shoots another nervous smile at Lance. When she notices me staring, she turns away with a flush. Do you really plan on ignoring me, Lord Fitzgerald? Oh, were you saying something? Such a cruel man you are. Please ignore him, Lord Fitzgerald. He thrives off attention. I only wanted to see who the superior swordsman was. Claude glitters like nobody else glitters. It's the glitter that gets me. Like, I loved him before, but the glitter doesn't hurt. It just helps. Fritz is a very capable swordsman. He was the commander of the Order of Caldera, after all. Ah, that means nothing. Claude hasn't changed at all. Lord Fitzgerald fights with a purpose, not just for the sake of being dramatic. You're just jealous you're not good with a sword, Llama. Emmeline gives Claude a withering look. Prince Lance is good at many other things, like dancing and chess and... She blushes when she notices everyone staring at her. Truly, you're far too kind to me, Princess Emmeline. The familiar banter continues throughout breakfast. Thankfully, no one brings up the incident from yesterday. At the end of breakfast, I take Fritz's hand and allow him to lead me into the corridor. The two of us are on our way to my bedroom when someone appears in the corridor. Princess Spacey. The Countess, Lady Celeste, appears before us, a brilliant smile on her face. 1,000 blessings upon you this morning. And to you, to what do I owe the pleasure? I'm glad I stumbled into you. The king told me you planned on giving a speech to the populace on the divide between humans and witches. Would I be able to help you with it? The king called her here for just that reason. Her input will be extremely invaluable. Of course. Perhaps we can meet in the dining hall. Wonderful. I also wanted to say... She grasps my free hand. I flinch at her touch, but don't pull my hand away. I wanted to thank you again for your assistance. I also wanted to tell you I have faith in you as Angeal's future queen. What? I know of the rumors around Angel. I know many witches blame you for what happened, but... The Countess shakes her head. I believe you're not only worthy, but overqualified to be queen. You're a noble spirit, and you'll be an amazing queen. That's kind of you to say. I can barely form words of gratitude, overwhelmed as I am by her compliments. The Countess laughs. I have faith, Princess Spacey. People's hearts can be changed. There's good and there's evil in this world, but there's also so much more. People are complex and susceptible to change. She leaves on that sentiment, leaving me alone with Fritz. After she's left, he raises his eyebrows at me and smiles that cocky smile of his. Well? Well, what? Do you have more faith in yourself now? I told you that you were good at what you do. I nudge him. That, my lord, is a matter of opinion. Fritz leans down to kiss my forehead. I'm afraid your say on the subject doesn't count because you're biased, but... He pulls a strand of hair back behind my ear. I'd like your opinion on some other things. Like my list for the future, for instance. You're still going to help me write it, aren't you? It would be an honor. He smiles at me softly. The honor is all mine, milady, tips Fedora. Just kidding. The two of us share a smile and a kiss before we head on our way. I was going to say, is this the end of this chapter? Because, otherwise I'm like, this chapter kind of it's going on past the point of it. It was I was kind of wondering, I'm like, wow, this is still going? I totally missed the title of this chapter, but whatever, it doesn't matter. The corridor's quiet at this time of night. The only sounds, the footsteps of the patrolling guards. I'm on my way back to my bedroom after an exhausting day of meetings, speeches, and conferences. I'm always out late these days, a result of my many meetings with the counselors, the witch representatives, and, well, everyone else. Though Fritz has taken to sitting beside me at those meetings as a show of goodwill, he's absent more often than not, busy doing volunteer work around Angeal and assisting others with construction work and errands. The volunteer work is his personal way of showing commitment to the people of Angeal. It is one of the most important goals on his to-do list for the future. There's one thing on his list, however, that's reserved just for me. We usually save that activity for our nightly get-togethers. But tonight is different. That sounds, if you read it totally different, we usually save that activity for our nightly get-togethers. I don't think that's on his to-do list. Spacey. Sure, it's training, but... Fritz told me earlier he had something special he wanted to show me. Father was nice enough to let me excuse myself early. I stop in front of my door with a smile. I'm glad Father approves of Fritz enough to help me carve out time for him. When I come into the bedroom, the first thing I notice is Fritz sitting by my window, a book in one hand and a handful of chocolates in the other. I eye the glass jar beside him, which is conspicuously only half full. A week ago I started filling it with chocolate because I know Fritz has a sweet tooth, but I didn't think I was going to have to refill it every day. Fritz looks up abruptly. Oh, Spacey. He subtly tries to drop the handful of chocolates back into the glass jar. Bonum Vesper? Vesper is night, right? I blank for a few moments as I try to recall the meaning of words. Bonum Vesper? Fritz moves to sit on my bed and pats the space between them. Isn't Vesper something to do with evening or something? Good evening. And do you remember what salve means? Salve is like a thing that you put on your flesh. Oh. Maybe it's supposed to be salve. Because it's like that's, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, a salve? Like a cream? Like, that's what it is. Like, I'm assuming that's not what you mean, but that one's easy. It means hello. And that's right. And carpe diem, seize the fish. Just kidding. I hope no one thinks I was serious. That one is an expression that means... I sigh as I plop down on the bed beside him and rest my head on his shoulder. How nice of you to quiz me now when I can barely think straight. And they say the best way to remember a language is to keep repeating the words. That is how Aduvia stuck in my mind. Aduva. Aduiva? Whatever, I can't say it. Look, I don't know, okay? Let's not... Anyway. That word is a special case. 2 years ago, Fritz taught me that word so that I would have a special way to call him to my side. Back then, I had no idea he read languages to be closer to his mother. I had no idea he was trying to keep me close by teaching me that word too. But now, I smile. It's been a few months since Fritz suggested we learn this language together. He wanted to do something special with me, like Latin, isn't it? Because he enjoyed language. I don't know if all of them are, but isn't that what carpe diem is? He suggested learning the foreign language he had been studying before. I'm glad that this is something the two of us can do together. Because really, if I could, I'd do everything with Fritz. We both promised each other that we would do just that 2 years ago. God, I saw something moving, got scared to crap. There was a bug in my house, just a fucking wasp flying outside my window, and it was the shadow on the ground. And though the years pulled us apart, we've since been able to reconnect. He's been so much happier recently. We both have. Today's been a long day, so how about we only review a few phrases before we do what it is you wanted to do tonight? I glance at the book, expecting it to be open to the page we stopped on. Instead, I'm surprised to see an envelope tucked between the pages. What's this? Fritz sighs. The king personally delivered it to me earlier. I pull the envelope out from between the pages and turn it over in my hands. It's addressed to Fritz and is from an unknown address. His father? Who wrote it? Fritz takes the envelope from my hands, opens it, and pulls out the letter inside. He begins to read it aloud. To Fritz, my son. Told you. I nearly slapped the letter out of Fritz's hands, but managed to restrain myself. The letter is, sure enough, from his banished father, Alcester. It's a letter filled with apologies, though I doubt the sincerity of the words. At the end of the letter is a request to meet in Brigantia. What are you going to do? I want to keep Fritz here. I want to force him to burn the letter so that I don't have to worry about Alcester scheming again, so that I don't have to worry about him using Fritz to get what he wants. But this is Fritz's decision to make. This is his life. He must do what he feels is right. I think I'm going to see him. Well, that's stupid! I'm just kidding. I want to tell him no, but like, it's your decision. What are you going to do? I'm going to go, no, that's stupid, no. Fritz pulls me closer and plants a kiss on top of my head. Don't look so glum, Spacey. You remember what I said about my mother? That you received no closure with her? Fritz nods. I don't want that to be what happens between my father and I. I'm not his shadow anymore. I'm my own person. I'm strong enough to face him, and I want to face him. I want to show him that I'm not like him. The words ease something in me, and I sigh without realizing. Fritz smiles. Will you come with me? I think sounds dangerous. I mean, I'll go to Brigantia, that seems okay, but I think it's dangerous for me to go meet your father with you unless there's a bunch of, like, knights and shit. Anyway, of course, I'll personally strangle Alcester if he says the wrong thing. That's my ice princess. Perfectly regal and perfectly terrifying. Damn right I am. He laughs when I nudge him. Anyway, let's put aside the specifics of that meeting until later. He slides the letter out of the book and sets it on my bedside table. Emotion makes my heart swell with pride. Fritz has come a long way. I've never been so proud of him. So, getting back to our lesson. Here, tell me what this phrase means. Amor vincit omnia? You've taught me that one before. Oh? Love conquers all. I flick his forehead. You really are forgetful. Sorry, I wasn't sure about that one because I haven't heard it in one of your speeches yet. He grins at me and I blush. 2 months ago, when the two of us started learning the language together, I gave a speech to the townspeople about bridging the divide between witches and humans. Back then I used one of the foreign words Fritz taught me. Carpe diem. Seize the fish. He was proud. That's carp. He was proud that I had used it, but he hasn't stopped teasing me about it since it happened. That was months ago. And I've been waiting impatiently for an encore ever since. I reach forward and snap the book shut, cheeks still warm. I think that's enough for tonight. But I haven't even taught you anything. Oh, you can teach me some shit. Wait, what? No, never mind. I'm sorry. Shh, 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 shh. You called me here early because you said you had something to show me, correct? I stand and heft a hand on my hip. Fritz looks at me for a few moments, thoughtful. It may just be my imagination, but his expression seems terse, not anxious. Proposal time? Fritz? After a few moments, the anxiety fades, replaced with a soft glimmer of confidence. I'm ready. What? He laughs. To take you to the place I want you to see. He stands up and takes my hand. It's a surprise, so I'm going to blindfold you at some point. Are you okay with that? Sounds kinky. You asked me after you already planned this out? You trust me, don't you? My life. And then there won't be any problems. He squeezes my hand as the two of us head out and into the corridor. I'm surprised when Fritz bypasses all of the palace corridors, leads me through a quiet street in town, and then all the way to the forest. We're only just at the outskirts when he holds out a blindfold to me. May I? Do you not think anyone at the palace will worry about us? Fritz's smile never falters. No, I don't. Maybe he already spoke to them about this. I relax as Fritz ties the blindfold around my eyes. For a few moments, there's nothing but the warmth of his chest against my back and the feeling of his fingers ghosting over my arms. He leans down to plant a kiss at the nape of my neck and then grabs my hand. He begins to lead me forward, walking more slowly so that I can keep up. Is this really necessary? Absolutely. I can hear the smile in his words. I remember 2 years ago, it took me a long time to trust Fritz. So long, in fact, that I feared I would never trust him again. Yet, here we are. I hold tightly to Fritz's hand as he leads me down the forest paths. On the occasion we run into an obstacle, Fritz pauses to move it out of the way or help me duck under some branches. Are we almost there? Here. Today? Oh yeah, so he was... I thought, I'm like, did they make a typo? No. I think it was supposed to be, like... I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like fear, but it's not. Like Fere, maybe? We'll pretend that sounds right with a funky accent. Almost. His fingers tighten around mine. For a few moments, I think I can feel his hand quivering in mine, but it's probably just my imagination. Eventually we stop. Fritz takes a deep breath and slides his hand out of mine. Fritz? You can take off the blindfold now, Spacey. I don't know why, but my heart's thudding loudly in my chest as I pull the blindfold from my eyes. The first sight that greets me is the most vibrant, lovely thing I've ever beheld. Aww. the most vibrant, lovely thing I've ever beheld. Fritz? Because you're looking right at him. The forest is filled with soft white lilies. Everywhere I look, I see them. There's so many, in fact, that the petals rain down from the branches, covering me in what feels like delicate snow. I stare at everything in amazement, and then suddenly, my eyes are on Fritz. He's standing in front of me, holding a beautiful lily bouquet. What is all of this? A night I hope you remember. If it's our engagement night, then I probably will. Fritz hands me the bouquet with a gentle smile. I wanted to do something like this for a while, only I hadn't summed up the courage to do it until now. I'm decent with a sword, but I've had to practice things like this. Things like this? Fritz looks at me with a sheepish smile on his face. Years ago, when you told me that you loved me, and when I told you that I loved you as well, I was only able to say it because you told me first. For the longest time, I was always afraid I wouldn't be good enough for you, that I could no longer be your knight in shining armor if I gave up my title. But, now I feel differently. He gestures to the bouquet. I gaze down at the clump of beautiful flowers and sigh. It's beautiful, Fritz, and you've always been good enough for me. I didn't see it at first because of my own stubbornness, but there's no one I'd rather have by my side. I touch one of the lilies and pause as a glimmer between the petals catches my eye. Slowly, I reach in toward it. It is! I told you it was our engagement time. We get a ring. Bitch, she loves it so much, put a ring on it. My fingers close over something round and cool. Something that makes my fingers prickle with anticipation. What? Before I can say anything else, Fritz is suddenly down on one knee in front of me. He holds one of my hands in his own. It's just so cute. He gives you a bouquet and then there's like a ring hidden in it. Oh. Fritz. Spacey, I don't have the regal upbringing of a prince, and for the longest time I was afraid I could never stand as your equal, but... He squeezes my hand. I love you too much to not want to improve myself. I can't read. His cheeks are flushed crimson. Because, Spacey, you are my foundation. You're my past, my present, and I would love for you to be my future. Oh. He kisses my hand. I love you. I have for a very long time, and if you'd still like to marry me as you said 2 years ago, even if I'm no longer your knight, I'd very much like to put this ring on your finger. Cute. I feel tears at the edges of my eyes, but I don't reach up to rub them off my cheeks. I don't mind being honest in front of Fritz. I've seen all of his sides. Why should he not see all of mine? Princess Spacey Riella Britton, would you do me the honor of allowing me to become your husband? Aw, that's so cute. I collapse to my knees so that I can wrap my arms around his neck and bury my head into his shoulder. No, I'm in love with Claude and maybe a little bit Waltz. Sorry, Fritz. You're supposed to ask me to do you the honor of becoming your wife. And yes, I would be honored. Fritz sets a hand to the small of my back and pulls me closer. I assure you I phrased it that way on purpose, my beautiful princess. Because to me, the greatest honor of my life has and will always be being by your side. You show me that love can conquer all. I manage a breathy chuckle as Fritz leans over to take the ring from my hand and slip it onto my finger. It gleams on my finger perfectly, like it was meant to be there. Oh, it really was, though, wasn't it? Amor vincit omnia. That's right. He pulls me toward him, and in the quiet of the clearing, there's just the two of us, sharing the warmth of our combined embrace. Does my family know? Of course. I already told them about all of this. His Highness said it was fine so long as you pretended to be surprised when I make the public announcement. I can't help but laugh. I think I prefer something personal like this. I mean, you know what yeah, because like otherwise they're like, hello, sure. As do I. I always did prefer having you to myself. He cups my face in his hands. He places a kiss on my forehead and then on my nose. And then, lastly, he presses a kiss to my lips. And the kiss is filled with so much hope and longing that I can't help but become lost in it. When it's over, he presses his forehead to mine. Thank you for helping me become a better man. Thank you for helping me to become a better woman. I love you, Fritz. I love you too, Spacey. Forever and always. He starts to laugh. As always, his laughter is full of so much joy it lifts my heart. The crescendo in the music. I want to hear it for the rest of my life. And now I'll be able to. The end. Okay, I was like, that's actually a perfect place to end, but Whitehaven, because it's white with all the lilies. Beautiful. That's it. Did you like it? We're done. Skip.
We done, bitches.
It's nice knowing you. I'm just kidding. We have one more part because we got to do the good ending. But like,
Not today, motherfuckers. Not today. Grandma says no. We don't get to go today. You have to. Actually, no, you gotta wait till next week, technically, for this one, I think.
yep, there he. Why does this look like a ghost? Why can't I think of what hit? Wait. Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, Rumpelstiltskin. What was Fritz's? Anyway, someone will tell me. We're missing a CG because we haven't gotten our normal end. Here's his dagger. Okay, sure. Kissing in the rain. Actually, I mean, I do act like this one because I just like seeing his hand on the tree. Like, oh, hi, push me against that tree and kiss me in the rain. It's nice. It's nice. And then his, like, sleepy content face. Like, I don't know. It's cute. You know, I thought, like, the cute lily picture, like, in the field of flowers would be alright. But this might be it, because this is, like, Frog or Fritz. I don't, like, I can't combine his names. Okay, I'm not smart right now, so. Us and our pretty mask. He looks pretty in this one, too. And then we have this one. Wow, this is actually a really short part. I thought it was going to go longer because that chapter 5 was still going for a while. And I was like, wow, chapter 5 went longer than I expected. So I was like, I wonder. But then I feel like his end chapter went by faster. Maybe I just didn't ramble as much as normal. Who can tell these days, right? Like, see, this would be the beautiful one to end on. I love it. But we're going with this one because this is like, you get a little bit of Fritz, you get a little bit of Ark, you get a little bit of both. And, you know, I'm just saying, I think that works. But we'll see. Maybe if the one in the good ending isn't as good of a CG as our nice proposal in the lily field, then we'll use that one for that one. Who knows? But anyway, so this is this. And we got one more part, and then this game is over. So, I mean, basically at this point, I hope you've enjoyed all of the routes. And whatnot, but we, like I said, we still have one more part to go next week. And since this part's short, and I'll probably say it again next week, but I don't have anything planned going up after this. I think Sundays are just going to be whatever Otome game is going up every other, you know, because we have the 2 going on every other day for the most part. Because I just need to take a little bit of a breather with doing too much and pace myself, because, like, I'm behind, and I just haven't felt the momentum to do it. And I'm not sure if it's just because, like, some games, unfortunately, this is one of them. I enjoy the game and we're playing, but I don't feel like there are times where I'm playing a game and I just sit there on a Friday night and I can record like 5 hours. I could just be going and be like, I gotta stop, but I could just sit there and go for hours. And this is one of those ones that I'm like, I do one part and I'm like, that's all I want to do. I don't want to record, like, if I have 2 hours in a day, like, okay, I can record 2 parts of something. I'll record 2 different games. I never, just for some reason, I just don't want to record more than an hour a day. And there are times where I'm like, normally I'd be like, okay, we're done. You're seeing that, like, I'm only a couple weeks ahead at this point. Like, I think Fritz's route has already started for you seeing it, and I'm here recording. Like, I'm only a couple weeks, like, because I'm just like, I just never feel like I want to, and I hate saying that because it's not like, oh my god, this game is awful. It's not that. I don't know. Maybe it's just certain games resonate with you. You're like, oh my god, I love this so much, and other ones you're like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. Or it's just me. Like, maybe I'm burning myself out. I don't know. So, to kind of alleviate that, because I'm not really sure where it's coming from, if it's just I'm playing a couple games right now between this and Cafe Enchanté that I'm like, know. Or if it's just, is it the games? Is it me? I don't know. So we're gonna just take Sundays off for a while. Not gonna change the other games that go up right now. I think it's still Cafe Enchanté and I the Somnium Files. Those are still gonna be every other day. So something is going up on Sundays, but I'm not gonna do anything else. I was gonna do Taisho Alice after this, but that's gonna actually go up after Cafe Enchanté now. Just because I don't want to get into. I have 3 games to record. I just want to go with 2 for a little while just to give myself a breather, get the momentum back and be like, yes, I want to record more, you know? And then we'll see what happens, what we'll do. But for now, Sunday will just be whatever is our every other day Otome game and nothing else. Like this was special. We did every day because it's a shorter game. It doesn't take that long. So like, you know, but if there is another shorter game that we play, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But for now, nothing else. But next week, you will have 1 episode of this. We'll have the last wrap-up episode, and then we will, and then it'll go back. So you get something next week, at any rate, is, you know, after that. So what is this, the last week of April? Yeah. So, you know, May will be a little barren, but it's okay. Just... I need a breather, guys, and you're usually good at, you guys understand, and you know, and you're cool with it, so, but I'm just giving you a heads up. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more.